Hello and welcome! My name's Heather. I'm a registered professional counselor and a certified life coach, and I like to analyze different scenes from Gilmore Girls. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Today, I'm going to be analyzing Lorelai and Emily's fight during Rory's birthdays. So, let's get to the show.
Oh, I don't know how to do this. Let's just go.
Oh, no. Come on, Mom. You do know how to do this. Think pudding.
Earlier in the episode, Emily made pudding for dessert at one of the Friday night dinners, and Lorelai interprets this as a sign of Emily trying to show that she cares. So far in this season, we see that Lorelai and Emily have a complicated relationship, and it's very strained, so it's rare when we see them getting along.
You're reaching out. Well, not a lot took a treat, but Mom, pudding.
While shopping for a birthday present for Rory, we see that Emily is doubting herself and she's feeling self-conscious about her choices of gifts. And Lorelai is trying to encourage Emily to keep looking for the right gift for Rory.
Here.
Oh, no, that's really good.
Really?
Absolutely.
Emily was able to find a gift for Rory, and Lorelai is showing her support. We can see that they're both trying to get along, and it helps that they have a common goal in mind, which is to find a gift for Rory. Sometimes being able to work together as a team to solve a problem or to achieve a shared goal can bring people closer together. Let's take a look at the next scene where Emily throws a birthday party for Rory and invites all of her schoolmates from Shelton.
What's that all about?
Lorelai, your daughter has no manners whatsoever. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Okay, how did this become my fault?
Since Rory is still new to Chilton, she hasn't made any close friends. She gets upset seeing everyone there and takes it out on Emily. Instead of listening to Rory, Emily blames Lorelai for Rory's behavior, criticizing her parenting abilities. So what's going on for Emily right now? Well, she's probably feeling embarrassed that Rory made a scene, and she might be feeling hurt and confused as to why Rory is upset, but she shows it as anger, and instead of reaching out to Rory and seeing what's going on, or even reflecting on her own behaviors and taking responsibility, she blames it all on Lorelai, who's just as confused as she is.
We're having a party tomorrow at our house, and it won't be anything like this, but it will be fun, and maybe you and Grandpa could come?
Why, that's very sweet, dear, but I'm afraid we already have plans.
Rory tries to make it up to Emily by inviting her and Richard to her other birthday party, and Emily rejects her offer. We see that Emily is very cold to Rory and is being passive-aggressive. It's obvious that she's upset with Rory, and instead of talking about what happened, they ignore it. I wish Rory could have apologized and explained to Emily what was going on for her. So she could have said something like, "I really appreciate you throwing this party for me, and I'm sorry I yelled earlier. That wasn't okay at all, and I apologize. I was just surprised that the students in my school were invited, and I don't really know them yet, and some of them I don't even get along with. I wish I could have told you this earlier, but you and Mom were getting along so well, I didn't want to jeopardize that. Having my classmates over made me feel really uncomfortable, and I was just hoping that we could spend the party with just our family." This could help Emily understand how Rory is feeling, and for her to also apologize and take responsibility for her part by saying, "I'm sorry too. I should have asked you who you wanted at your party. I assumed that they were all your friends, and I didn't want to be rude and not invite them, especially since I'm friends with a lot of their parents. I just wanted your party to be special, and I thought I was doing the right thing." I know it's really out of character for them to communicate like this, so let's just use this as a learning opportunity for how we can potentially communicate in our lives.
Please, come.
I've already been to a party for my granddaughter, and she humiliated me in front of all my friends. I have no desire to relive that experience.
Lorelai is trying to convince Emily to come to the party, and we see that Emily's pride is getting in the way. She mentioned that she was humiliated in front of her friends and she doesn't want that experience again. It seems as though she doesn't really understand why Rory acted the way she did, and she's taking it personally, as if Rory did it on purpose and directed towards her.
She doesn't like them.
Well, I had to invite them. That's just good manners, something that your daughter is sorely lacking.
God, you're doing the same thing to her that you always did to me. You try to control her, and when that doesn't work, you just shut her out.
Emily is more concerned with her social image and how others view her as opposed to how Rory is feeling. And Lorelai expresses that that's how she felt when she was a teenager. It's possible that Emily feels the need to control the situation and others' behaviors because she's trying to make sure everything reflects her social standards. There are these rules in higher society that need to be followed. If you're hosting a party, you need to give a speech. You need to invite all your classmates, even if you don't like them. And what happens here is that when you have someone who disrupts these social norms, Emily feels threatened. She's more concerned with how other people perceive her and making sure that she has proper manners than throwing a party that Rory wants. And we see her take another jab at Lorelai's parenting.
What do you want me to say? Everything's fine. It's forgotten. There, I'll see you next week.
So I guess the whole pudding thing was just a fluke, huh? Trying to get to know us, easing up on the rules, smudging that bottom line of yours. It was just some weird phase.
We can see that Emily isn't actually fine with the whole situation, and she's just saying that to try to end the discussion. Lorelai is trying to express how she thought Emily has changed and that she thought she was trying to get to know who she was and who Rory was. I think another way that Lorelai could have expressed this is to say that it meant a lot to her when she thought that Emily was trying to get to know who they are. I think also deep down for Lorelai, there's a part of her that really wants to connect with Emily. And with the whole pudding thing, I think she thought that there was hope, but now she's realizing that it's not intentional at all.
Oh, so I'm a villain now, is that it? I spent a fortune on this party. I spent days planning it, making sure that every little detail was perfect, the food, the linen, the music, and I did all this for Rory.
But that's not what she needed, Mom. What she needs is for you to accept her apology and come to her party.
Not surprisingly, Emily gets defensive, and she starts saying that she spent a fortune on the party and she did it all for Rory. I think it's clear that Emily's heart was in the right place, and she really did try to make the party perfect for Rory. However, she tried to make it perfect in her own way and not in a way that Rory would have appreciated. Lorelai could have used this opportunity as a way to validate and acknowledge Emily's efforts, as opposed to saying that this isn't what Rory needed and that Rory needs Emily to accept her apology. Although that may be true, it's important that during times of arguments for both parties to see from each other's perspectives. Both perspectives are right in their own way, and what's important is being able to communicate functionally so the conflict doesn't escalate. What typically happens, and what we see in this scene, is that they're not talking about the same thing and they refuse to understand where each other is coming from. For example, Emily could have said that she was sorry for inviting the other students from Chilton and that she should have asked Rory first, and in return, Lorelai could have genuinely thanked Emily for putting in the time, effort, and money for Rory's party. And usually when we're able to validate the other person's feelings or understand where they're coming from, and we're able to reflect that to them using empathic statements, the conflict usually lessens.
How dare you! You don't even know what she needs because you don't know her. You never tried to know her, just like you never knew me.
Oh, I know you.
Oh, please, you don't know anything about me.
So now the argument has turned into a fight about their relationship. Lorelai feels neglected by Emily, and this can be quite painful as a child to feel that your parents don't accept you and to feel like your parents never tried to know who you are. It's possible that Emily thought of Lorelai as an extension of herself and her own identity, which makes sense as to why she tries to control Lorelai. It's possible that Emily did try to get to know Lorelai when she was younger, but the way she went about it just didn't translate to Lorelai. So let's skip ahead to Rory's other birthday party, and Emily and Richard show up.
I made that.
Really?
From Rory's old baby clothes.
How nice. Hope you washed them first.
Oh, rats, I knew I forgot something.
I think this is the first time that Emily and Richard have been to Lorelai's house, and Emily is exploring Lorelai's room. I'm curious as to what's going on in her mind right now.
What's this? You broke your leg?
Yeah, 3 years ago during a yoga class.
I never knew you broke your leg.
It was no big deal, Mom. If I'd been really sick, you would have known.
I feel really sad for Emily, and I can only imagine what she could be feeling. I think she's shocked that she didn't know that Lorelai broke her leg, and I think she also feels sadness that Lorelai didn't bother to tell her about the situation either. Perhaps to Lorelai, it didn't seem like it was a big deal, but for Emily, she may interpret this as another example of Lorelai shutting her out of her life. Emily is already aware that there's a disconnection in their relationship, and this is more evidence of that.
It was nice that you came tonight, Mom. It meant a lot. To Rory, really.
Well, she is my granddaughter after all. I should be here.
I totally agree.
So that's the pattern of Emily and Lorelai's relationship, in that after having a huge fight, they don't really discuss what the main issues are. However, they find ways to move forward without really resolving anything. This could have been a good opportunity for both of them to calmly discuss what happened at the other party. And it would have been a good opportunity for the both of them to apologize to each other as well. I also get a sense that Lorelai wanted to say that it meant a lot for her and Rory that Emily and Richard showed up, and I really wish that she did say that, but it's typical of their relationship to not show any vulnerability.
Emily? She's right. I don't know my daughter at all.
Emily is realizing that Lorelai is right and that she doesn't know who she is, and we see that there's a lot of pain and sadness behind this. It's rare to see this side of Emily, and we do see it a few times throughout the series, and I think this is what needs to be addressed between Lorelai and Emily.
We should go. Traffic.
Even Emily is unable to share more about this with Richard, and so she quickly changes the subject. There's a lot of pain and a lot of hurt on both ends, and neither one of them are sharing how they're feeling or finding ways to heal and move forward, so they could have a closer relationship. I think that deep down, they both desire to be close to each other, but there's so much pain that they caused each other, and both of them are afraid to let their guard down. And so their relationship is a constant battle with walls being built up to protect themselves. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out my other therapist reviews videos, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, be kind and love yourself.